Welcome back, you guys. This guy's just awesome. He's like, right before we're about to go back on, he's like, don't laugh. So it just speaks to his attitude. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the differences between a quadriplegic and a paraplegic, and what the differences are, and what exactly the medical, like what actually happens.
Mm-hmm. We'll start off with, there is a difference. When you have 7 vertebrae in your neck, when you break one of those, you're considered a quadriplegic, and the level in which you break your neck, I broke my 6th, that determines the level of function that you have. So as you go up, the numbers get lower, so you start with 7 at the bottom, go up to number 1. As you go up, you drastically lose function. That's another part of my looking at everything with glass half full. I mean, it's too bad this happened, but I got pretty lucky that I broke my 6th. It could have been a lot tougher if it was higher. When you have an injury to your back or your lower lumbar area, that means you're a paraplegic. Paraplegics usually have, depending on the level of injury, more core strength, better hand function, which is why you'll see more of them manual chairs. It is an important difference. Now, I didn't know, but 2 years ago, I think a person in a wheelchair is just a person in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. But there is very big differences.
So like Christopher Reeve, because there was obviously a lot of attention around that, was he a quadriplegic?
Yes, he was.
He was. Okay.
And he was a much higher injury level than I was.
So it was higher up on
higher
vertebrae.
I think, I could be wrong, but he was maybe a C3. And as you go up, the C4 area is where you start having to breathing difficulties. So sometimes you might have to be on a trach tube, and C4 is also the area where you don't have much arm function. And seeing people like that, and the time I spent in the hospital, seeing all the different injuries, really was a wake-up call for me.
Were you in with a lot of other people that had similar injuries?
Yes, a lot of quadriplegics, a lot of paraplegics. I saw very bad burn victims, a guy who'd been electrocuted, run over by cars. I mean, you name it, I've seen everything.
Where were you?
I was up at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. Okay. So through that, my time at MCMC here in the Dalles, I've been to a place called Project Walk in Southern California, Adaptive Ants, I've been all over. I've really seen a huge variety of injuries, and it all makes me thankful for what I have, because here I'll be looking at someone who's much worse off than I am, and it makes me think that, wow, these people are going to work their whole lives to get the limited amount of function that I have now. And it just really just makes you look inside and say, it's not that bad. I'm thankful for what I have. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, that's
and
incredible.
What happened to me, the reason, because you can break your neck or your back and not necessarily sustain a spinal cord injury. The reason I am still paralyzed, my spinal cord was pinched, so there's a deprivation of oxygen to it for obviously too long of a period. And they always say, don't move people with a neck or back injury.
And
I was moved a lot.
Moved around a lot.
Once I had fallen over and broken my neck, I was looking up and I knew right away something was very wrong. It's a very weird feeling. I could just look up and see the lights and not move anything, and I saw my arms being pulled like this. I'm thinking, whoa, that's weird.
But you couldn't feel them or anything.
But I couldn't feel them. So they thought I was faking it, because my body was going through convulsions. And so they tried to get me up, and my neck's flopping all over, so not good things.
Right. Well, when you're laying there, you're seeing your arms moving, and they don't even feel like they're part of your body.
Yes.
What is your mind doing? I mean, are you going into almost like an altered state of reality? Like, is it spinning out of control? I mean, I can't even imagine this.
It was really weird. I actually heard my neck break, and I knew something was very wrong. I didn't know what, because I couldn't see my body. Your head's just stuck looking up, so you can't see what's going on. I felt just like a head there, like my body was totally detached. And there's a lot of swelling in your spinal cord that goes on initially, and I think that's maybe to protect what's left of it. Okay. And as that swelling went down over maybe 6 months, I would slowly regain function, and also with the exercise that I was doing. Exercise has been huge. That's the reason that I can do most of the things I can do today, is because I've worked at it. I want it, and I know that every hour I put in that gym, that's an investment in the rest of my life, because I'm going to have that improved function, that improved strength forever, and it's so worth it.
Well, when you got to the hospital, how long were you in the hospital, and when you were released, what level of mobility did you have or not have?
I was life flighted to OHSU initially. I spent 4 days there in intensive care, and then I was taken up to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. I spent 11 weeks there, and at first it was just I was bedridden, and we slowly kept working at it. When I left, I had very little core strength or stability. I'd fall over like this. What do you do?
Yeah.
You can't get up. And so slowly over time, I've been able to get my hands strong enough, and it's hard to imagine. Some of the first exercises I did was just sitting on the edge of the bed. And guys like me, quadriplegics, we have a big problem with blood pressure. Since we don't have the muscles to keep it back up, I'd sit up and it would drop. And so at first it was 2 seconds on the edge of the bed, and then I'd almost pass out. Then 5 seconds, then 10, and we just gradually would build it up. To now I have a standing frame that stands me straight up at home. I can be up there for an hour with no problems. So it's slow but very steady.
So your life before the accident, I mean, you avid hunter, fisher, out on quads and motorcycles, and the sportsman and having a great time. Now you still obviously find a lot of joy in your life, which I think is just incredible and just so important. But what is your life like on a day-to-day basis?
It's wonderful. I get up in the morning.
For some reason, I'm not that surprised that you would say that. But like, what is it really? I mean, what's your process?
So when I get up in the morning, I have about 2 to 2.5 hours that I need help with. My mom she's amazing. She's now my full-time caregiver. I have to get up. I can't go to the bathroom by myself anymore. So she has to help me with that, and that takes a good hour and 15 minutes. She has to help me with showering, dress me. So that's a good couple hours, and then we'll typically exercise for 2 to 3 hours every day. And that's a program that we developed at Adapt Advanced.
And what does that consist of? Like, what kind of exercises are you doing?
We do a ton, which is great because everyone knows if you do the same things over and over, it gets boring and repetitive.
Right.
So we do active nervous system recruitment. That's one. So I'll sit on the bed. Mom will move my legs in certain ways, and I'll try to mentally connect to that movement. So if I'm laying on my back, she may bend my leg up and kick it out, and I'll think of which muscles that I want to use for that. So I'll be thinking, push through my quad, push through my glute, and try to feel through my heel. And it's amazing that when I do things like that, or when I sit on the edge of the bed, that when I think, okay, like right now I'm leaning forward, when I push back thinking through my feet, I can feel buzzing in my feet. See, your body likes to cheat. It's going to take the easiest way. And one of the big things that my physical therapists have taught me is that your body's still there. You just have to retrain it. And that's my belief. I'm shooting for the stars. I want to walk again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to. One thing I found is that you become your expectations. And they told me, initially when I came out of the hospital, I didn't think I'd do anything but live in a chair. So I didn't have anything to try for. And once I found these places that said, we're going to get you out of that chair, we're going to get you up again, and that gave me so much hope and something to shoot for. And
you're like, I'm in the right place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even with my speaking career that I'm doing now, I was a forester before this, so I worked in the woods. My ideal day was when I didn't see a single person all day, and now I love to get up and talk in front of hundreds of people. Mm-hmm. So it's really been a huge change, and having learned the business aspects of that have been huge, but it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And so I want to do more than just speaking for small groups. I love doing that, but I have my sights set on huge things for the future. I can't wait. I'd love to come in another year and check in with you guys, show you what I can do physically, show you where I've been. The future's going to be pretty cool.
Absolutely. Well, we're definitely going to be keeping track of you.
Good.
But when we come back, because we're going to take another quick break here, but when we come back, I do want to talk to you a little bit about, what maybe you feel or maybe don't feel towards the guy that, almost unintentionally, obviously, but almost could have wrecked your life. Mm-hmm. You've not looked at it that way, but I want to talk a little bit about that and how you reconcile that. So, you guys, when we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Jake French, and great stuff. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere. Be right back.